It's a cold night. Dark city streets, lights of driving cars, sounds of sirens, loud voices, chilly air, wet asphalt. Are you ready to get rid of the crime in this city? Then remember to count your correct answers. November 4th, 2021. It's been raining for 3 days, but even this is not enough to wash away all the dirt of the city. For several hours, Detective Sadfist had been sitting in his car near the house of a Hollywood star. The detective is sure that someone is going to rob her house. The actress doesn't believe in this. In the distance, he sees a tall man in a hat. He approaches the door and knocks. The actress opens the door and greets the stranger. "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought it was my house," he says. It has a very similar design. The actress closes the door and the stranger leaves. The detective gets out of the car and arrests him because the man is a thief. Why is the detective so sure about this? If the stranger had really thought it was his house, he wouldn't have knocked on the door. He'd have tried to open it with a key. The detective takes the thief to the station. The rain is finally over. It promises to be a long night, so the detective goes to buy a coffee. At this moment, the radio reports an arson to the south of the central square. No time for coffee. Sadfist hits the gas pedal and drives to the place. He notices the flames from afar. 2 houses are burning. The detective notices several more police cars. A police officer tells him that one house belongs to a rich businessman. There's a lot of money inside. The owner of the second house is a poor artist. His paintings are burning now. Which house will the detective go to first to put out the fire? He's not a firefighter, so he won't approach either house. After watching the flames for a while, Detective Sadfist gets into his car and realizes he can't take it anymore. He needs some sleep. He doesn't want to go home because his house reminds him of her, and he doesn't need those memories at the moment. He decides to rent a hotel room. The detective asks the hotel administrator to wake him up at 7 a.m. "Of course," the man says, "but don't forget to call me first. Then I'll come to wake you up. One call will be enough." What does the detective need to do to make the lazy guy wake him up? He can set an auto call for 6:50 a.m. The detective enters the room and falls on the bed. At this moment, the door starts opening slowly. The faces of people he has thrown into jail appear out of the darkness. The detective sits up on the bed and the door slams shut. At first, Sadfist doesn't understand what just happened, but then he lets out a sigh of relief. It was just a nightmare. How has he figured it out? It's already light outside. It was dark when the detective checked into the hotel. That means he was asleep. A new day, a new case. The detective is going to the countryside. A girl has disappeared there. Sadfist intends to find her. He stops his car near 3 houses. They're located on the ocean beach. 3 roads lead to the houses. Sharp rocks and shards of glass cover the first road. The second road is swarming with snakes. Lava is boiling on the third road. Which path should the detective choose? The ocean will soon cool the lava and turn it into stone. The detective follows the third path. He enters the house and finds the missing girl there. She confesses that she stayed late at a party, and her mother was so worried that she called the police. Detective Sadfist arrives at an office building in the center of the city. He goes up to the top floor. Here, a rich banker is lying unconscious. Someone hit him on the head and stole important documents from his safe. There's a tape recorder on the banker's desk. The detective turns it on. The banker's voice comes from the microphone. "My nephew, He called me a few minutes ago and said he would break into my office and take my documents. I don't know what to do. If something happens to me, you should know. My nephew Michael is to blame. Oh no, I think I heard the elevator doors open. I think it's him. He's here. The recording ends. We must find his nephew, one of the police officers says. I don't think so. The nephew has done nothing wrong. The man just wanted to frame him. Sadfist answers. How did the detective figure that out? Someone rewound the tape in the recorder to the very beginning. It's unlikely that the nephew did it. He'd get rid of the recorder. The detective leaves the office, gets into the elevator, and meets an old concierge. They go down very slowly. The concierge looks attentively at the buttons. The detective asks him what's the matter. The concierge answers that 5 people live on the 35th floor, 3 live on the 20th floor, 4 people live on the 7th floor, and 7 people live on all other floors. The building has 40 floors in total. The concierge asks, which elevator button is pressed most often? What do you think? The answer is the first floor button. It's pressed by every resident. The detective gets into the car and drives to a cafe. He hasn't eaten anything since yesterday. He orders an omelet and opens a newspaper. There's a riddle on the front page. In the winter, a guy went to a nearby village to meet with his friends. He knew he needed to go through a forest, a small field, then a forest again, and only after that would he reach his goal. The guy started his journey. He went through the forest, the field, another forest. But then, he saw a big river. How can he cross it? The detective grins because he knows the answer. And what about you? It was winter. The river was frozen. A waiter approaches Sadfist and puts his omelet with coffee on the table. The detective eats, then calmly gets up from the table and heads to the kitchen. There, he meets a masked robber. The detective arrests him. How did he know there was a criminal in the kitchen? Rob in kitchen was written on the coffee mug. The robber is detained by other police officers, and Sadfist goes back to his car. He has a new case. He arrives at an antique store. Some swindler has deceived the store owner and sold him a fake coin. The coin has a date on it, 175 BCE. It looks old. The analysis has shown that the coin is ancient. The store owner says he thought it was really made before the current era. How did he eventually understand the coin was a fake? People who lived before our era couldn't write BCE on their coins. Sadfist leaves the store. Oh no, his shoes are torn. The detective gets into his car and goes to a shoe store. He parks, gets out of his car, and he sees 3 stores. The best shoes in the city, the sign on the first building claims. The best shoes in the world is written on the second building. But the inscription on the 3rd store is the best. Detective Sadfist smiles and goes there. What's written on the 3rd store? The best shoes on the street. After doing some shopping, Sadfist drives down the street and sees a group of suspicious people standing next to a building under construction. The detective stops the car. People notice him and run away in the other direction. The detective runs after them. It seems they've managed to escape, but Sadfist doesn't think so. He calls for backup and tells the police he's caught a gang of hooligans. They're all hiding in a transformer box. How did the detective know that? After all, he lost sight of the hooligans at some point. The hooligans ran on uncured concrete and left footprints leading to the transformer box. Oh no! Now, Sadfist's new shoes are stained with wet concrete. The detective gets into the car and goes to the laundry. There he meets the owner, who finds out about another crime. The owner claims that someone has taken a huge amount of money from his safe. But the detective realizes that there was no thief. The owner stole the money himself to get compensation from the insurance company. Sadfist has noticed this laundry gets robbed too often, but the owner hasn't changed the locks or strengthened security yet. But how can the detective prove the money hasn't been stolen? There are banknotes in that washing machine over there. That's where the owner hid the money. Tired, the detective returns home. His apartment is a mess. Since she left him, the house has turned into a dump. A mouse squeaks somewhere in the room. Inspect the apartment and help Sadfist catch the rodent. See that box with a hole? It looks like the mouse has chewed through it. Sadfist catches the tiny animal, but does nothing to it. He decides it will be his pet. The detective's mood is as bad as it always is, but maybe checking your score will cheer him up. 0 to 3 points. Detective Sadfist has only gotten sadder because you haven't helped him much in his investigation. 4 to 7 points. Not bad for an ordinary private detective, but it's unsatisfactory for Sadfist, the best detective in the city. Next time, try to be more attentive. 8 to 10 points. Well, it's better, but still not good enough. It's like having eaten a burger and still feeling a little hungry. 11 to 14 points. Today, the city can sleep peacefully. You've helped the detective in almost all cases. He deserves his long-awaited rest. And you do too. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime. So Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th. So the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old. Yet, she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked, "What day of the week is today?" No one knew. The father said, "I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday." The mother said, "And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday." And Adele, an older sister, said, "Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday." What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, Lion's Den. On the second door, there was a sign saying, Mountaintop. On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No!
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, "I was reading." The maid said, "I was dusting the corners in the house." The chef said, "I was baking an apple pie." Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun, and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house, and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa. Look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters. So every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Time to check your attention and logical thinking skills. Do you have an eye for detail? Then you'll make a great detective. One day, you go to a restaurant to get something to eat. But as soon as you enter, you hear loud, angry voices. A waitress and a visitor are arguing. "You also ordered chicken wings and you have to pay for this dish." It's the waitress. The visitor looks tired and sleepy. "But I didn't. I haven't been here longer than an hour. Yeah, I did doze off, but it doesn't mean I don't remember my order." You step in. "You know very well that this man couldn't have ordered chicken wings," you say. "How did you figure it out?" You noticed on the wall it says, "The kitchen works till 1 p.m. It's 3 p.m. now. The man claims he's been here for an hour. It means he came after the kitchen had been closed and couldn't have ordered anything to eat. Nathan came to visit his friend Zachary, who worked in a museum. "Look what I've got! A priceless manuscript that was written more than 1,000 years ago." Zachary looked through the manuscript and realized his friend had been fooled. Does anything in this text strike you as strange? If we talked about the dates before the Common Era, they should be in reverse order. The original text would read, King Alfred V ruled the country from 1320 to 1290 BCE. A man called the police late at night. He said, "I've heard a very loud noise coming from the house next door. I'm afraid to go there alone, but what if something bad has happened?" When the police arrived, they saw that the entrance door was open. They ran inside and found the house owner, Mr. Anderson, on the floor of his bedroom. He was tied and moaning in pain. He said he had been in bed reading a book, and then a man in a black mask broke into his room and hit him on the head. Then he tied Mr. Anderson, took all his money and other valuables, and disappeared. The police officers didn't believe the man. Why? Look at his bed. There isn't even a wrinkle on the covers. It's unlikely that the thief made the bed after tying Mr. Anderson. It can only mean the man is lying. Evelyn wants to visit one unusual restaurant, but to get there, one must know the password. The girl hides around the corner to figure it out. She sees a man come up to the security guard. The guard says, 12. The man answers, 6, and is allowed to come in. Then a young woman approaches the security guard. He says, 6, and she answers, 3. Evelyn is sure she's figured out the pattern. She comes up to the security guard. He says, 4. The girl answers, 2, and isn't allowed to enter. Can you figure out why? The password is always different. It's the number of letters in the word the security guard says. The word 4 has 4 letters. That's what Evelyn should have answered. A manager of the most luxurious ski resort in the area called the police. She said someone had stolen a set of very expensive monogrammed bed linen. 3 guests left the hotel that morning: Mr. Sam Taylor, Mrs. Amanda Martin, and Mr. Michael Smith. The police detained one of the guests and indeed found the bed linen in their suitcase. How did the detectives figure out who the thief was? As you can see, the hotel's name is the Morning Star. This means the monogram on the bed linen is MS. The only person with the same initials is Mr. Michael Smith, so he can use the bed linen pretending to have ordered it with his monogram to show off. 2 cars are driving through the city. They both started their journey at the same time. The green car is moving at a speed of 30 miles per hour. The yellow car is faster. Its speed is 50 miles per hour. And still, at one point, the green car comes across the yellow car. How is it possible? The cars are traveling in opposite directions. Aaron is a detective who has to work undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspect that the hotel owners are involved in some shady deals. Aaron's task is to sneak into the manager's office and check his documents, but the door is locked, and there's a combination lock. Aaron has to figure out the password. The detective knows he needs to solve a math riddle, and the answer will be the code. As soon as he punches in the code, the door opens. What is the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. A very famous painting disappeared from a museum. Later, the police managed to find it. But there was a problem. They found not 1, but 3 paintings. Only one of them is original. The others are just copies. Can you help the police figure out which is the original painting? It's the one with the brown frame. Take a look. All frames in the museum are made in the same style. Now, you've got accepted to the best school of witchcraft and wizardry. One of the best classes you have to attend is about transforming into animals. There are 3 professors who teach this class. Each of them specializes in transforming into a certain animal. Look at your professors and try to figure out what kind of animal each of them turns into. Have you noticed that the first professor has a forked tongue? He must transform into a snake. The second professor has a lion's tail. It must be the animal she transforms into. And the third professor has bear claws. He must turn into a grizzly bear. Maria was a princess and the heir to the throne. One day, an evil witch lured the girl into a magic forest. Maria got lost. Luckily, she had an enchanted pendant given to her by one of the king's magicians.
"It will help you find your way back home if you ever get lost,"
he said. Maria tapped the pendant, and 3 spirits appeared in front of her. The first spirit was an owl, the second was a butterfly, and the third spirit was a hawk. Unfortunately, only one of them knew the way back to the castle, and if Maria chose to follow the wrong spirit, she would find herself even further away from home. Can you help the princess pick the correct spirit animal? Have you noticed the banners in the throne room? There was a butterfly on each of them. It means the butterfly is the official symbol of the kingdom. Maria should follow the butterfly spirit. A man lives in a high-rise apartment building. He has an unusual habit related to the evening elevator ride after he returns home from work. If it's been raining, he always takes the elevator straight to his 17th floor. If it's sunny, but there's someone else in the elevator with him, he always gets straight to the 17th floor. But if it hasn't been raining and he's alone in the elevator, he takes the elevator to the 11th floor and walks up the stairs the rest of the way. Can you figure out why? The man is very short. He can only reach the button for the 11th floor. If someone else is in the elevator, he asks them to press the button for his floor. And when it's rainy, he uses his umbrella to press the button. Johnny, a party clown, is carrying 3 pieces of gold. Each of these pieces weighs 2 pounds. While walking, the guy comes to a bridge. It has a sign saying the bridge can only hold a maximum of 180 pounds. Johnny weighs 176 pounds. Johnny reads the sign and still safely crosses the bridge with all the gold. How is it possible? Johnny is a clown, so he knows how to juggle. While walking across the bridge, he juggled the gold, keeping one piece in the air.
Here we go. Stella is a cleaning lady in a 3-story business center. Late in the evening, she finishes cleaning the big boss's office. Stella is the last person in the entire building, so she locks the doors and goes home. The next morning, the boss calls her and yells, "Someone wrote scammer on the wall near his desk with blue paint." The boss questions 3 suspects. The guard said, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I left earlier and asked Stella to lock all the doors with her keys." The manager says, "This paint was supposed to be used for the basement. I guess someone had stolen the paint from the storage room. As for me, I've spent the evening with my family, and they can confirm my words." And the local interior decorator says, "Yesterday, I was working from home." So, who's guilty? The guard. Take a look at his shoes. He left some footprints on the floor, and they look identical to the paint footprints left in the boss's office. Kyle and Amy are having dinner at a restaurant. Can you spot what's wrong here? She has 2 forks. You're in a land where 30 men and 2 women are dressed in conservative black and white outfits. They begin to fight as soon as any of them moves. Can you guess where you are? You're on a chessboard. Welcome to the food market. There's a zombie hiding somewhere here. Can you see him? Over here. Can you help the police spot a bank robber in this amusement park? Hello. Let's take a look at all of these emojis. Can you find any food? There's shrimp over here. What about this collection? Can you see anything edible? There are 2 options, actually. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is! Next set. Can you see a human among these emojis? Hello. I bet you can find a body part in this variety. This nose over here. Can you see any flowers among all these emojis? There are 2 flowers, actually, here and here. Can you spot what's wrong here? The reflection doesn't match reality. Can you see anything odd here? This lady doesn't have any reflection. Wicked Witch kidnaps young women in the town. The police had been tracking her for 6 months, and finally, they detected her hideout uptown. They break in and find 3 young ladies with their hands tied. The police questions all women. Sally says, "I've been here for a month or so. I'm so glad you found us." Bella says, "This witch only gave us some bread. We were starving." And Rosie says, "I've spent a month in the darkness. I thought I'd never see the daylight again." The police know at once that one of them is the witch. Can you guess who? Sally. If she had been there for a month, her nails would grow and the nail polish would peel. George works in a museum as an appraisal expert. One day, a stranger brings him 3 antique Japanese vases. He says, "They're precious. These vases were passed down in my family from generation to generation. They're worth millions, but I would like to sell them to your museum at a huge discount so that everyone can admire them." George examines the vases and finds out that only one of them isn't fake. Can you guess which one? The first piece looks pretty ancient, but why would an ancient Japanese vase have English letters as part of its decoration? The third vase depicts an elegant lady in a traditional costume who's holding a smartphone. Therefore, only the second vase is original. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any gadgets? There are two options, actually. Can you find a body part in this variety? This palm over here. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is! Next set. Can you see any animals among these emojis? There are 3 animals here. Can you find any plants among all these emojis? Hello! A powerful wizard kidnaps Kyle's wife. There are 3 tunnels leading to the dungeon where she's imprisoned. A mother bear is cuddling her cubs inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with hungry wolves who haven't been eating for a year. And a fire-breathing dragon is sleeping inside the third tunnel. It can wake up at any moment and burn anyone who dares to enter. Which way is more or less safe? The second path is the safest. Wolves won't survive without food for so long, which means they're not dangerous or breathing. Let's go ahead and see if you can find an outfit among these emojis. It's over here. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Ka-ching! Can you find a shoe in this set? There it is! Next set. Can you see any desserts among these emojis? Piece of cake! Literally. Ms. Smith is a rich old lady. Today she's furious because she's found out that her son is having a secret relationship with one of her staff members. 3 women are working in Miss Smith's mansion. The house cleaner, who has just married their driver, they have a huge debt. The babysitter, who's very poor and brings up 5 siblings. And the gardener, who is a university student. She's not very serious and loves partying. Can you guess who's the secret girlfriend? It's the babysitter. Where did she get money for this jewelry? Billy has lost his cat. Can you help him find it? It's hiding behind this lady. Alex wakes up in a creepy quest room. There are 3 doors, but touching their doorknobs is unsafe. The first one is under high voltage, fatal to humans. The second one is red-hot iron that will burn your hand. And the third one is covered with poison, which is fatal for all beings when injected. Which doorknob should Alex turn to escape? The third one. The poison is only dangerous when injected. Paul leaves his workplace to wash his hands before lunch. He returns to his desk and finds out that someone had eaten his turkey sandwich. Paul checks the crime scene and questions 3 suspects among his co-workers. Mary says, "I've been talking to the manager in his office when the robbery was taking place." Liam says, "I don't need your sandwich, bro. I'm a vegetarian." And Wendy says, "I've been having a conference call in the lobby. I wasn't looking at your desk." Who's lying? Liam, there's a sandwich on his desk. Take a closer look at the package. It says chicken. Therefore, he's not a vegetarian. Can you find any fish among all these emojis? Hello! Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Jackpot! Emma takes part in a beauty pageant. She arrives at the auditorium early, gets ready, and has lunch at the local cafeteria because she hasn't been eating or drinking all day. Before going to the stage, Emma faints.
Oh, no.
The doctors find out that someone had poisoned her. The police check all food and drinks at the cafeteria and find no poison. They interrogate 4 witnesses. The cook says, "I only served allergy-friendly snacks and drinks." The contest manager says all the models had been eating and drinking the same food, but Emma was the only one who got poisoned. She must have eaten something wrong at home. The rival beauty pageant contestant says, "I've done all the preparations at home, so I've just arrived." And the makeup artist says, "I was too busy with my duties, so I haven't even entered the cafeteria." Can you guess who poisoned Emma? The makeup artist. Lipstick was the only thing that touched Emma's mouth that day, apart from the cafeteria food.
Jenny and Ben were about to get married. They wanted to book a hotel for their wedding ceremony in the party. So they went to a wedding planner to look at some options. She told them only 3 hotels were available for the day they wanted and showed them the pictures. Which one should they choose? Take a closer look at the 3rd floor windows of the first hotel. In the last window on the right, there's a creepy shadow of a monster that appears and disappears. 5 stars or not, no one would like to get married in a haunted place unless they're an Addams Family member. In the 3rd hotel, only has 2 stars. It probably doesn't have the facilities to host a wedding, so the best choice is the 2nd hotel. Great choice, the wedding planner said, and you're in luck because they actually have a great discount offer. If you can answer this riddle correctly, you won't have to pay for the ballroom rental. Here it is. Those who have it, do not say it. Those who take it, do not know it. Those who know it, do not want it. What is it? Do you know the answer? It's fake money. The next day, Ben and Jenny went to the hotel to pick the best ballroom for their party. The hotel manager took them to 3 different rooms where they could host everything, from the ceremony itself to the dinner and after party. Which one should they pick? Do you see a little mouse hole in the corner of the first ballroom? The couple wouldn't want such uninvited guests at their party. As for the second ballroom, the chandelier looks like it might fall down any minute. Not the safest option, so they should pick the 3rd ballroom. It was time for Ben and Jenny to pick the wedding menu. Since they were not paying for the venue, they wanted to spare no expense in serving food that the guests would never forget. That's why they called 3 different Michelin star chefs. Each of them prepared a different dish and presented them for a tasting. Which chef, and therefore which dish, should they go for? Even though the dish the second chef made looks perfectly fine, do you see a rat's tail hanging from his chef's hat? There must be some ratatouille situation going on there. So that's a pass. The 3rd dish looks like spaghetti, right? Well, look again. Those are actually very thin snakes. Exotic flavors might not be the best option, so they better go with the classical burger that the first chef made. Before they made their wedding vows, Jenny had to say yes to a dress. So, she went to a couture store to check their wedding gown collection. She explained to the designer the style of the dress she wanted for her ceremony. The designer said he had just the perfect gown for her and would bring it to her if she answered his riddle correctly. He asked, if a gown takes an hour to dry, how many hours will it take 6 dresses to dry? It'll still take 1 hour because they'll all dry at the same time. Ben had one last item to buy on his wedding shopping list, and it was what fastens 2 people yet touches only one. Can you figure out what it is? It's a wedding ring, of course. Ben headed to a jewelry store to get something blue for his bride. The store owner showed him 3 different wedding rings with blue gemstones. Which one should he buy? The second ring has an engraving inside, so it must have belonged to someone else before. The gemstone on the third ring has a tiny crack in it. That can only mean it's made of glass or even plastic. So, Ben should buy the first ring with a sapphire. Next, Ben and Jenny were going to send out invitations. One print shop offered them 3 different versions of invitations. Which one should they choose? Do you remember the name of the hotel they booked? It was Sunrise Lodge, but the first invitation says Sunset Lodge. So this one won't do. And on the third invitation, their names are printed as Benny and Jen. That's not our couple, so they should choose the second invitation. Before the wedding, 3 of their friends paid them a visit. One of them brought a painting as a wedding gift, but all 3 claimed that they were the artist who had created it. 2 of them must be lying. Can you figure out who the actual artist is? Take a look at the signature on the painting. It says Denise. Now look at the third friend's necklace. It has the letter D, so she must be Denise, the artist who painted the painting. It was finally the day of the wedding, and Ben and Jenny's guests started to arrive. However, the hotel security spotted 3 suspicious-looking people who could be uninvited. Take a look at these 3 guys. Can you tell which one is not supposed to be at the wedding? Do you see the hotel wristbands that say Ben and Jenny, that the second and the third guys are wearing? That can only mean they are actually invited. So it's the first guy who's crushing the wedding. Sorry, dude, no free drinks for you. After the vows were exchanged, it was time to party. As Ben and Jenny were dancing, someone spilled their drink on Jenny's dress, but no one saw who it was. Jenny spotted 3 people who could have done it. Take a look at them. Can you tell who ruined her dress? The first guy has spots on his shirt that resemble stains from the spilled drink, but they are actually part of the pattern, so it can't be him. The third lady looks clean, but the hem of the second lady's skirt looks dirty, so it must be her who did it. After the ceremony ended, Ben and Jenny wanted to take a photo to capture the moment forever. But take a look at it. There's something strange about it. Can you spot what it is? Can you see a woman hiding behind the trees watching them? She is wearing a witch hat, but it's a wedding ceremony and not a costume party. Creepy. Right before leaving, Jenny suddenly vanished. Then the witch suddenly appeared in front of Ben and said, "You may only kiss the bride if you figure out with whom you really tied the knot. Ha ha!" Then 2 Jennies appeared in front of Ben. Can you tell which one is his real wife? Remember the wedding photo? The Jenny on the left is the real one because her tattoo is on the same side as in the photo. Now that Ben and Jenny's wedding was over, phew, it was time for them to pick a honeymoon destination. They went to a travel agency to book a tour. The travel agent offered them 3 different holiday destinations: Ibiza, Cannes, in the Caribbeans. Which one should they go to? Have you noticed the weather forecast on TV in the office? It states that the weather in Ibiza is going to be windy in the upcoming days, and in Cannes, it's going to be rainy. So they should pick the Caribbeans and enjoy the sun. The travel agent said she could upgrade their plane tickets to business class for free. It would be her wedding gift to them. But they had to crack this riddle. What can travel around the world while staying in a corner? It's a stamp. Look at this picture. Where is the bank robber hiding? He's over there, behind the bushes. The bank robber has managed to escape from the police. Try to figure out where he's hiding now. See that maintenance hole? That's where the criminal is. This robber is just too fast. He's escaped again and is now hiding in one of these fitting rooms. Help the police find him. He must be in the middle fitting room. See that bag with all the cash he's stolen? Look at this image attentively and try to figure out what's wrong here. In reality, the guy is holding a tube of toothpaste in his left hand, but in the reflection in the mirror, he's got nothing in his hand. How about this picture? What's wrong here? Is this lady charging her cat? This picture looks off too, but what exactly seems strange? It's the girl in the front. She isn't reflected in the water. Now the next image to challenge your observation skills. Does anything strike you as odd in this picture? Look at the TVs. They show different things in reality and in the reflection in the mirror. Can you figure out what this means? Right you are! F plus arm equals farm. Now this one is a tiny bit tougher. What does this rebus mean? Storm, TH. It's thunderstorm. And how about this one? Can you crack it easily? Re plus boot equals reboot. Ew, insects! But can you guess this word? How many ants are there? 10. So, the correct answer is 10 plus ants equals 10 ants. I have 8 fingers and 2 thumbs, but I'm not alive. What am I? I'm a pair of gloves. Which person is different from the others? Right you are, this one with shorter hair. Try to figure out which emoji is the odd one. The one at the bottom. It looks pretty angry. I challenge you to find a cat that's different from the rest. Right! It's the one closer to the bottom, facing away from you. Which image is the odd one? This little rebel is turned in the opposite direction. Have you noticed anything wrong in this picture? The ball. They're playing soccer, not basketball. Which cow is different from the others? The one waving at you, of course. How about these burgers? Do any of them stand out? See, this burger is smaller than the rest. There's something wrong with this picture. What exactly? It's the river. It seems to just disappear under the bridge. Is there a hole in the ground there? Which emoji is the odd one? The one with its mouth missing. There's something that doesn't seem quite right in this picture. But what? The rainbow. Its colors are a bit messed up. Can you find a pig among these birdies? Here it is, hiding behind the bush. Which emoji is different from the others? It's the unwinking one, with both of its eyes open. These smiley faces look so cool, all but one. This emoji isn't exactly all that smiley. There's something wrong with this keyboard. Can you figure out what exactly? There are 2 8s on it, but no 9s. Which pooch is the odd one? This doggy seems to be friendlier than the rest. Find the odd avocado. Right, it's the one with the heart-shaped pit. Which emoji is different from the others? This little guy is just a wannabe. It isn't a unicorn. It's a horse that's probably dreaming of becoming a unicorn. Can you find the odd emoji? The one at the bottom seems to be even more in love than the rest. The hearts in its eyes are bigger than what other emojis have. One of these music notes is different. Which one? Ah, now I see it! What's wrong with this picture? The calendar claims it's August 2018, but the computer is sure it's still August 2017. Can you spot a teddy bear without a hat? Here it is! There's something strange about this picture, but what exactly? One of the birds doesn't have a reflection. Creepy. Which sheep couple is different from the others? This one. The lady sheep is facing away from her admirer. Amy was walking through a forest and saw 3 portals in front of her. Each could take her to a different place. The first one would send her to the moon. The second portal would move her to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. And the last one would take her 30,000 years back, when large dinosaurs were still roaming our planet. Which portal should she choose to survive? The third one. Dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. Amy will be safe there. John was looking for a gift for his mom at a shopping mall when he noticed that one of the stores had a mysterious extension. It led to a vault filled with diamonds and gold jewelry. As soon as the guy walked in, the store owner locked him in the room. He told John he had to eat one of the 3 cookies on the table and manage to get out of the room. Then he'll be rewarded generously. The first cookie would turn John into an animal. The second cookie would turn him into a giant. And the last one would make him invisible. Which cookie should John eat? The first one. He can turn into some small animal, like a hamster, and squeeze through the bars. That's how he'd get out and win the gold. Mr. Lawrence called the police. He said someone had taken his car for a joyride, crashed it into a streetlight, and ran away. The man was sure it had been one of his neighbors. The police questioned 3 of them. Ivy answered she'd been at work and arrived home only in the evening. Cameron told the police he'd been helping his dad remove old stuff from the attic. And Aaron claimed he'd been hanging out with his friends, eating pizza, and watching the latest series. After listening to all the suspects, the police officers arrested one of them. Who was it? It was Cameron. There's no attic in his house. He invented the whole story. Naomi invited her friends to a pajama party at her house. The only thing she asked the girls was, "Don't enter my brother's room. He loves playing tricks on people. And once you get there, you might not be able to get out." They were gossiping and watching viral TikTok videos when one of Naomi's friends asked, "Wait, where's Rebecca?" Meanwhile, Rebecca went to the kitchen to drink some water, but she got lost and ended up in Naomi's brother's room. The door closed behind her back, and it wouldn't open. The girl noticed a password lock with letters on it. Rebecca looked around and spotted a piece of paper on the table with 5 numbers on it: 3, 7, 6, 9, 2. The girl thought for a while, then entered a combination of letters and got out of the room. What was the password? The code was the first letters of the 5 numbers, TSSNT. An expensive ring went missing from a jewelry store on the first floor of a large shopping mall. The manager called the police. After watching the CCTV camera footage, they had 3 suspects: a student, a woman with a daughter, and an elderly man. The student said he had agreed to meet with his friend next to the jewelry store. "I didn't even set foot inside," the woman said. "I was at the movies with my daughter here in the mall when everything happened." The elderly man said, "Yes, I did enter the store. I felt unwell and asked for a glass of water, but I didn't take the ring." Who's lying? Look, all the movies running at that time had a 16+ age rating. The woman wouldn't have been able to watch any of them with her young daughter, so she must have lied.
Henry and Mia lived together in New York. They wanted to run away from big city life and celebrate their anniversary in the wild. So the guys used a special online service and found 3 available options nearby. Bob offered his cozy treehouse in the woods for a reasonable price. Julia offered this fancy geodesic dome with all conveniences. It's a 2-hour drive away from New York. And Crystal offered an old mansion that she'd inherited from her granny. Can you help the guys make the right choice? Take a closer look at the picture of the dome. It's located near the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which means this property is in Italy, and it can't be 2 hours away from New York. And Crystal's granny's ghost is still in the house, so Mia and Henry should choose the treehouse. The guys contacted Bob, booked the house, and hit the road. Mia is a famous blogger, so she decided to post all milestones of their journey in her stories. Can you spot any differences between these 2 pictures? Here they are. What about these 2 pictures? There are 3 differences. What can you say about these 2? Can you see 3 differences? Here they are. While the guys were driving along a highway, someone threw a can of paint into their car. Mia and Henry stopped at the nearest car wash and interviewed 4 other drivers. Bill said, "My truck has to be perfect. I'm going on a date this evening." Jack said, "I'm going to meet my business partner at the airport. I want to leave a good impression." Lily said, "Honestly, I don't need to have my car washed. I just stopped here to visit the restroom." Ryan said, "My boss gave me this coupon so that I could wash my car for free." Who stained Henry and Mia's car? Lily. Her right hand is stained with the paint of the same color, and besides, she has a print of Mia's face on her t-shirt. She's definitely obsessed with her. The guys washed their car and continued on their journey. They had to choose one of these 3 roads to reach their destination. The first one went through toxic swamps. People often get lost in that area. The second path went near a river with creepy sirens. Their singing made everyone jump into the water. And a band of angry robbers was waiting on the 3rd road. Which way should the guys opt for? The second one. They can close all the windows, turn some music on, and drive past the sirens very fast. Mia suggested visiting the farmer's market to buy some fresh produce for their romantic weekend. When they entered the marketplace, 3 sellers offered them apples, but only one deal was safe enough. Can you help the guys make the right choice? Seller number 1 offers very old apples. Take a look at the date on the box. They expired 5 years ago. Seller number 3 offers very beautiful apples. But pay attention to his assistant. She's putting shoe polish on the apples to make them look better. So, Mia and Henry should pick the second seller. Henry and Mia left the market and put all their purchases into the car. Suddenly, Henry realized that he'd left a bag with cabbage at the farmer's stall. He returned but couldn't find the bag. Henry questioned 3 people he saw nearby. Vera said, "I only eat fruit, mister. See, I've got bananas and apples." Bella said, "Yes, I saw your bag. The seller put the cabbage back on the shelf." And the seller said, "I don't know what's going on here. I spent the last 10 minutes in the bathroom." Who's lying? Vera. She hid the cabbage under her elegant hat. Finally, the guys reached their destination. The treehouse is even better than in the photo, but can you spot anything weird in this picture? This raccoon is wearing sunglasses. The owner of the treehouse, Bob, lives in another country, and the house is located 15 miles away from the village and other people. That's why Bob installed a special digital clock on the door. When Henry booked the property, Bob gave him a 6-digit password. But unfortunately, Henry had lost it. Here's a hint. M80. Can you help the guy crack the code? These symbols are mirrored digits. Split them apart and you'll get the code 1133CC. The guys unlocked the door. But as soon as Mia entered the living room, she got very scared. She asked Henry to call the police. Why? The treehouse is in the middle of nowhere. Who lit the candles and the fire? The house was locked. Henry checked all the rooms, but found no clues. What about you? Any ideas who that could be? That roof window is open. Someone crawled inside the house before the guy's arrival, and now that someone is hiding under the bed. See? The guys called the police. Officers promised to arrive within an hour. Mia decided to take a shower. When she returned to the living room, she realized that Henry had disappeared. Mia searched the garden, then checked all the rooms in the house, and returned to the garden again. But she failed to find any clues. Can you help her? The hot tub was open when Mia began her search, but now it's closed. Pretty suspicious. Mia was walking through the garden. Suddenly, a man in a mask popped out of nowhere and pushed her. Mia stepped on a trap and fell into a deep well. She yelled, "Please help me out!" No one answered, but Mia's phone pinged. The masked man offered her to play a game. Otherwise, she'd have to stay in the well forever. Here's the first riddle. I come in many different colors, and I get bigger when I'm full. I will float away if you don't tie me down, and I will make a loud sound if I break. What am I? Mia nailed it immediately. What about you? The correct answer is a balloon. Here's the second question. I can jump and I can climb. With many legs, I swing from tree to tree. I can make a house much bigger than me. What am I? Have you guessed? It's a spider. And the final question. I come out at night without being called. I'm lost in the day without being stolen. What am I? Can you help Mia? The correct answer is a star. A hatch opened at the bottom of the well. Mia went through it and got into a creepy basement. There, she found 3 ways to freedom, but every door hid some danger. A fire-breathing dragon was sleeping behind the first door. The corridor behind the second door was filled with high-voltage wires. And a vampire was waiting behind the third door. Suddenly, a message appeared on the screen of the girl's phone. "Hurry up! Soon the walls will close in and smash you." Which way should Mia choose? She should wait until the walls are close enough so that she can scare the vampires away with this stake and go through the third door. When the police arrived at the treehouse, they found Mia and Henry at the porch. Henry had just woken up. The robbers had put sleeping pills in his coffee. The officers searched the area and found some clues. They concluded that the criminals were planning to leave the country by train. Unfortunately, no one knew what they looked like or how big the group was, so they stopped 4 suspicious people at the railway station and examined their baggage. Can you figure out who's innocent? Why would a bald man need shampoo? And this supposedly blind person has a flashlight. This guy is carrying 3 tubes of toothpaste, but no single toothbrush. It seems that only the third guy isn't a criminal. 3 friends lived not far from one another and often met to drink some coffee together. Their names were Mr. Blue, Mr. Red, and Mr. White. One day, they noticed that under their coats, they were wearing t-shirts of different colors: red, blue, and white. Mr. Blue said, "Hey, Mr. White, have you noticed that we're all wearing colors that are different from our actual names?" The man wearing the white shirt answered, "Wow, you're right." Can you figure out the shirt of which color each of them was wearing? Mr. Blue can only be wearing white or red, but we've already learned that someone else is wearing the white shirt. That means that Mr. Blue can only be wearing the red shirt, and Mr. White can only be wearing a blue or red shirt. And the red shirt is already taken, so Mr. White is wearing the blue shirt. Then Mr. Red is wearing the white shirt. Mia and Henry decided to spend the night in a hotel nearby. The manager said that they only had 3 free rooms. Can you help the guys choose the best option? This room doesn't have any doors. That's weird. And this room has a cracked mirror on the ceiling. It's too risky. The second option looks pretty safe and nice. The guys checked in, and Henry asked Mia, "Well, where do you want to go now?" She answered with this riddle: "You used to visit me when you needed to know, but I've been lonely since the internet was born. What am I?" Have you guessed? The correct answer is a library. In the library, the guys met these 4 students. One of them is broke. Can you guess who? Student number 3. Her uniform is too large for her body. It must have belonged to her sister.
Get ready for a tough but very fun riddles competition. Take whatever helps you activate your logical skills. A magnifying glass, a deerstalker hat, or a notebook. And let's get rolling. Let's warm up with some easy stuff. Can you find a vampire among these emojis? Here it is. Ugh, creepy. How about this crowd of people? Can you spot a vampire hiding among them? It is this girl. Look at how sharp her teeth are. And one more riddle for you. Which of these people is a vampire? See those fang marks on the neck of that guy? He was bitten and has already turned into a vampire himself. Stephen was found unconscious in his living room on a Sunday evening. Someone had hit him on the head. The man was rushed to a hospital while the police started questioning the suspects. There were 3 of them: Steven's ex-wife, his neighbor, and his younger brother. Steven's ex-wife said she'd been walking in the park with her little niece all day. Steven's neighbor said she'd wanted to go on a date with her boyfriend, but since it had been raining heavily, they decided to stay at home. And Steven's younger brother said he'd been at work, finishing a large project. It was so important he had to work even on weekends. The police figured out who the attacker was quite fast. Can you do the same? It was Steven's ex-wife. It had been raining heavily all day long. Who would walk in the park with a little kid in such weather? A criminal has kidnapped your friend and tied him to a tree. A huge, vicious dog is guarding this tree. You need to save your friend at night. But when you come to that place, you only have 1 piece of meat with you. It's not big enough to distract the dog for the 3 minutes you need to cut the ropes and help your friend escape. How can you solve this problem? Cut the meat into small pieces and throw them all over the garden. And while the dog is distracted, set your friend free. One day, Amy went on a date with her boyfriend Joe to a nice restaurant. Joe gave her flowers and candy. They had a great meal and enjoyed the date. But in the morning, Amy woke up with a severe allergic reaction. She went to the hospital, where she was told that she had been poisoned. But to figure out what antidote Amy needed, it was crucial to understand the source of the poison. The detective invited to investigate the case questioned everyone who could poison the girl, her boyfriend, the cook, and Amy's friend Cindy. Joe said that they'd eaten the same food in the restaurant. The cook said that he had brought Amy her pizza, and it had been freshly made. And Cindy said she thought Amy's boyfriend had poisoned her. She added that he had asked her what flowers Amy liked to gain Amy's trust. Have you realized who poisoned the girl? It was Cindy. Have you noticed the book on her table? It was about poisonous flowers. She advised Joe to give Amy flowers that would cause health problems. One company organized a betting game where 1 red and 1 blue marble were placed in a dark box. If a player picked the blue marble, the company had to pay them $5,000. But if the player guessed it wrong, they had to pay the company $100. The company cheated by always putting in the box 2 red marbles instead of 1 red and 1 blue, but no one could prove it. Mark was observing people lose one after another. Then he took part in the game and won. How did he do it? The man picked a marble and quickly put it in his mouth without showing the thing to anyone else. The remaining marble was red. According to the rules, it meant that Mark's marble was blue. The company had to pay him the money. Now, you need to pay attention to every little detail. Can you figure out whose dog it is? Look at that guy wearing a red jacket. See that leash he's holding? It matches the dog's collar, so most likely he's the owner. This parrot has managed to sneak away from its owner, and now the vet is looking for them. Can you say whose bird this is? The owner is that woman sitting on the couch. There's a cage behind her. Another waiting room at the vet. And whose Sphinx cat is this cutie? See that guy waiting for the doctor to bring back his pet? He's surrounded by lots of furry animals and can't stop sneezing. He must be allergic to fur. That's why he got himself a Sphinx kitty. And whose horse is this? See that girl standing in line? She's the only one wearing riding boots. She must be the owner. These kids seem to be terrified. No wonder. See that white rat darting around the classroom? Who does it belong to? It's that girl who's checking her backpack. You can see a cage and some rodent food inside. Oh, look at this cutie. What do you think? Who does this mini pig belong to? This guy is the owner. His outfit matches the scarf the pig is wearing. How sweet is that? And whose hedgehog is this? This lady is the owner. She's wearing special gloves to handle the animal.
Yes!
And who does this absolutely adorable pug belong to? Its owner is this guy. If you look attentively, you'll notice a pug tattoo on his leg. Lily came home and saw her favorite vase shattered. Extremely upset, she exclaimed, "What's happened to my vase?" Her husband Sam explained that around lunchtime, he heard a loud crash from their bedroom. He rushed there and saw that Lily's expensive vase had been broken and a robber was running away. Sam followed the man outside, but his glasses got foggy because of the cold weather. That's why he missed the man. Lily called the police, but after police officers heard the whole story, they refused to investigate this case. Why? Glasses fog up when you enter a warm place, not vice versa. Sam invented the story because he was afraid to admit he had been the one to break the vase.
Oh.
Emma's husband Liam knew his wife had been dreaming of going to an archaeological site. One day, she told him about the perfect opportunity. There was a remote site ready to be excavated, but there was no internet or network connection there. She would have to camp in a tent with almost no modern conveniences. But since she was really excited about this trip, Liam was ready to wait for her at home. 2 days later, Liam received a message and a photo from Emma. The man got furious. He realized Emma had been lying about the whole thing. How did he understand it? Before leaving, Emma told her husband there was no internet connection or cell phone reception there. Then how did she manage to send him the photo? Several bank workers visited a canteen in their office building. Since it was the Riddle day, Matthew, Isaac, and Wyatt were served tea, and Hunter, Christian, and Nathan drank coffee. What drink did Aaron get? Aaron drank tea simply because of his double-letter name. A man with a bandage around his head came to a police station. I was hitchhiking when a car stopped. The driver asked me to check if one of the tires was flat. I bent over to look, and he hit me on the head. When I regained consciousness, I found out he had taken all my money and smartphone. I only remember that the guy had a big car, large eyebrows, and a mustache. Soon the police had a suspect. They found him in a cafe, but this man said it couldn't be him. He changed the tires on his car 2 weeks ago. And since then, the car had been parked near the cafe. But the detective realized the man was lying right away. How? There's a no parking sign near the cafe. No car could be staying there for 2 weeks. Isabella is standing behind Mia. But at the same time, Mia is also standing behind Isabella. How is it possible? The girls are standing with their backs turned toward each other. Mrs. Red was a big boss in a large company. Recently, she hired a few new employees. One day, her assistant was filling out their documents and found something strange.
What?
She informed Mrs. Red that one of the new employees seemed to have fake documents. But the boss was in a hurry and told the assistant that she'd have a look at the papers the next day.
Yeah.
But the next day, Mrs. Red found out that her assistant was in a hospital, unconscious.
Oh my god.
Someone had attacked her on her way to work. Mrs. Red hurried to check the new employee's documents, look at them and try to figure out which ID is fake. This ID card claims that Edward is 34 years old, but the man using this document is way older.
Oh.
It was an extremely hot day. Police Officer Black was driving along a countryside road. Suddenly, he noticed a hitchhiker on the side of the road and stopped to give him a ride. The man explained that he had been waiting for someone to pick him up for more than 2 hours and offered the officer some ice cream. Black refused and asked the guy about a gang of criminals who had just robbed a jewelry store. The hitchhiker exclaimed, "I've just seen a red car speeding past me. Must have been the robbers, but they were driving in the opposite direction. We'll need to turn back." Black didn't believe him and took him to the police station. How did the police officer guess the hitchhiker was a criminal? If the hitchhiker had indeed been standing on the side of the road for 2 hours, the ice cream would have already melted. So, he lied to lead Black the wrong way. Oliver has in mind one of 3 numbers: 1, 2, or 3. Charlotte is allowed to ask him just one question to figure out which number it is. Oliver can answer her question only with no, yes, and I can't say. Which question should Charlotte ask? She can say, "I have the number 1 or 2 in mind. Is your number larger than my number?" If Oliver answers yes, it means he's chosen 3. If he answers, "I can't say," the number he has in mind is 2. And if he says no, his number is 1. Several people were asked to step over a pencil lying on the floor, but none of them managed to do it. Why? The pencil was placed near the wall. Who doesn't like rebus puzzles? They're fun, and I've got a few tricky ones for you. Enjoy! What does it mean? It's misunderstood. Try to crack this one. So we see pot and 8 O's. Together, they make potatoes. And how about this one? That's high five. A small hint. The arrangement of these letters is important. This rebus means, hurry up! And one more puzzle for you. What could it mean? It's a friend in need. A hungry vampire is following you on a deserted street one dark night. Suddenly, you see a house with its door open and hide there. The vampire can't enter your shelter, but is patiently waiting outside. However, you still have some hope. There are 3 tunnels leading out of the house. But inside the first tunnel, there is molten lava. The walls of the second tunnel keep closing every 10 seconds, crushing everything that gets inside. And the floorboards of the third tunnel collapse every 5 seconds, sending everything lying on them into an abyss. What should you do? Just wait till the morning. Vampires can't stand daylight, and your pursuer will have to leave you alone.
Yes! Brennan and Rachel are 2 archaeologists working on a digging site in the desert. One day, they came across a cursed artifact. Once they touched it, they magically got teleported into a room with no doors and no windows. How can they escape? Now, there are 3 signs that suggest they can escape through that wall. The first one is, if you take a closer look at it, you'll notice that the bricks at the center are slightly dislocated. The second one is, there's a wind coming from the direction of the dislocated bricks. You can tell it by looking at Brendan and Rachel shifting clothes. And the third one is, there's also a faint light coming from between the dislocated bricks. So, that can only mean there is actually nothing holding them together. They can just push the bricks and create a hole in the wall. Unfortunately, Brendan and Rachel found themselves inside another room. Unlike the previous, this one was very large, and there were 10 identical-looking ancient statues in it. But take a look at the scene. Do you notice something strange? This statue's eyes are following Brendan and Rachel. It's alive. Once Brendan and Rachel realized the moving statue, it started speaking. "How dare you enter the chamber where I am resting with my brave warriors? I will turn a blind eye to your disrespect and will let you go only if you answer my question correctly. If you can't, I will turn both of you to stone. I am light as a feather, yet the strongest man can't hold me for much more than a minute. What am I?" The correct answer is breath. Anna wanted to buy a van to travel the country. She went to the van fair to pick one. There were 3 vans she could afford. Take a look at each of them. Which one should she buy? Did the wooden flooring of the first van catch your attention? It's all scratched and blistered, so this one is a pass. Now let's check the second one. It seems like something is missing. It has no stove. How is she going to be able to cook? It's better she does not waste her money on this one either, so she should buy the third one. David went to the grocery store to buy some fresh fruits and vegetables. At the checkout, he realized that he had forgotten his wallet back home. It was closing time at the store, so there was no time to go home, grab his wallet, and come back to pay. The store manager said, "I'll let you get all the food for free if you can answer my riddle correctly. What has a heart that doesn't beat?" The answer is an artichoke. Jamie was riding his bike when he came across a junction. The first road was leading to a forest where it was raining acid all the time. The second road was leading to a pitch-black tunnel where nobody could see where they were going. And the third road was leading to a highway where it was so hot that even the concrete road was melting. Which one should he choose? Jamie should pick the second road because his bicycle has a headlight attachment here, so he can actually see where he's going. Florence was a contestant at the Who Wants to Be a Billionaire game show. She only had one question left to win $1 billion, and it was this. What starts with an E, ends with an E, but only contains one letter? But she couldn't figure out the answer, so she used her phone a friend lifeline and called you. Can you help her out? The answer is an envelope. The Rodriguez family went on vacation to a remote cabin in the woods. They brought a large supply of food with them, including several cans of soup. However, when it was time to open a can and start preparing the dinner, they realized they didn't have a can opener. Yet still, Mr. Rodriguez was able to open it. How did he do it? He used this rock on the counter to smash the top of the can. Yes, the rock was a can opener. Mrs. Rosie was knitting a sweater in front of the fireplace on one snowy winter night. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at her window, which caused the glass to shatter to pieces. Mrs. Rosie immediately could tell this was one of those 3 mischievous kids who lived in the neighborhood. They were brothers with the names of Robert McDuffie, Henry McDuffie, and Mark McDuffie. The next day, a paper note was left on Mrs. Rosie's doorstep. It had this cryptic message written on it. ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. After reading it, Mrs. Rosie could immediately tell which McDuffie brother threw the snowball. Can you? The brother responsible for the broken window was Mark McDuffie. The symbol, ? is called a, question mark. Now the meaning of the message is clear as day, right? ? Mark McDuffie. He threw the snowball. Now the question is, who threw Mark McDuffie under the bus? Ratted him out? Sandra was going to a monster-themed costume party. When she arrived at the venue, she greeted 3 people, but 2 of them were actually real monsters, and only one of them was a human. Can you tell who? The first guy is a real human because he is wearing a mask. You can see the ribbon of it tied behind his head. Sophia was an extra who acted in the season's most anticipated movie. She was invited to the premiere among the other cast members and crew. She wanted to look her best for the event and decided to hire a professional makeup artist to do her makeup. She found 3 makeup artists on social media to choose from. Take a look at their profiles. Which one should Sophia choose? Well, the makeup the first makeup artist is wearing is not so flattering. How is she going to do Sophia's makeup if her own looks that unprofessional? And did you see that the social media bio of the second makeup artist says only bridal makeup? So the best option is the third makeup artist. Princess Madeline was going to have a crowning ceremony, and all kinds of important people were invited. However, on the day of the ceremony, her newly crafted royal crown got stolen from the vault. The head royal guard examined the security footage and boiled down the suspects to 3. When he questioned them, the first suspect said she had just arrived at the palace at the time the crown was stolen, so she didn't do it. The second suspect said she had spilled a drink on her dress and went back home to change it, so she didn't do it. And the third suspect said even if she was a thief, she would not be interested in stealing a crown made of emeralds. Who do you think did it? Now remember, the crown is newly crafted, so nobody has seen it yet, and there is no way anyone could know what gemstones it is made of. So it's the third lady who stole it. Simon was going to propose to his longtime girlfriend. He wanted the ring to be special, so he engraved his and his girlfriend's initials along with a heart shape inside the ring. However, when his girlfriend saw it, she immediately broke up with him. Can you tell why? Do you see the necklace Simon's girlfriend is wearing? It says Beatrice on the pendant, so that must be her name. But the engraving inside the ring says S loves D. This probably means Simon is cheating on her with another girl whose name starts with D, and he mixed the names up. Simon says, find somebody else. Anthony was going to start working at his dream company. To celebrate the good news, his dad wanted to get him a new luxury watch as a good luck gift. He went to the store to pick one. The salesman showed him 3 different watches. Which one should he buy? Do you see the tiny scratches the second watch has? That must be a returned product, so it's a pass. And the third watch here shows the time wrong. The store clock on the wall says it's 5 p.m., but the watch says it's 4:40 p.m., so it is running behind. Better not risk spending all that money on a malfunctioning watch. So he should buy the first one. Nancy was hiking in the woods. She lost track of time and couldn't find her way back to her car in the darkness. In the distance, she saw a small cottage with lights coming from the windows. She headed there to ask for help. When she knocked on the door, a wizard greeted her and said he would help her only if she could guess what animal his familiar was. Can you help Nancy figure it out? Take a look at the magic staff the wizard is holding. The head of it is raven-shaped, so his familiar must be a raven. Amir's favorite band was in town to give a concert. After it ended, Amir rushed backstage to catch the band members before they left and asked for an autograph. But the security guard stopped him. After Amir begged him and told him this was his biggest dream, the security guard said, "I will let you meet the members if only you answer my riddle correctly. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" Come on, the security guy. Anyway, do you know the answer? The correct answer is the letter M. Penny's new favorite hobby was bird watching. She was trying to observe all the birds in her region and take notes about them. One day, she saw a rare species of bird and wanted to learn everything she could about it. Can you help her figure out which of these trees in the forest is this bird's home? Did you see the leaf that was stuck among the wing feathers of the bird? Only this tree has the same kind of leaves, so it must be where the bird's nest is located. Sally had a history exam the next day, but she had not been attending any of the classes, so she didn't have any notes to help her study. Nellie, on the other hand, was a very hard-working student who had never missed a single class. When Sally asked Nellie if she could borrow her class notes, Nellie said, "I will only allow that if you answer my riddle correctly. What has 4 letters, sometimes 9 letters, but never has 5 letters? Can you answer it?" Well, the answers are hidden in the question this time. This riddle isn't describing something, it's actually telling you how many letters each word has. The word what contains 4 letters, the word sometimes contains 9 letters, and the word never contains 5 letters. Since Sally was a lazy student who didn't study, she couldn't answer the riddle and flunked the exam. She was grounded to her home after school for a month, and Nellie ended up with Sally's boyfriend Pete, who everyone said could have done better than old Sally. And now you know the rest of the story.
Here's an easy one for starters. You have 5 seconds to see who's hiding behind those lines. Hoot hoot, it's an owl. What about this one? Squint, please. Did you manage to spot the tiger? Time for the next illusion. If you're getting tired of squinting, try shaking your head. Shaking the head worked for me. It's a big, mighty bear. Can you figure out this one? It's a beautiful sea turtle. Sure you managed to spot it. Who's hiding in this one? I knew it! It's a frog! Here comes the next one. Try moving the image back and forth if you don't feel like shaking your head anymore. It worked! It's definitely a giraffe. Another one for you. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and just one in this image. Things are getting trickier and trickier. Can you handle this one? It's a zebra. Next, please. You can try another strategy for this one. Just zoom out of the image. This cat sure has some style. You can try your successful strategy on the next image. Did it work for you? If so, you definitely guessed it's a squirrel. Let's take it one level up and see if you can name all the hidden numbers. Here we go. It's 649. Did you get it right? Next illusion, please. The number hidden here is 903. I'm sure you managed to decipher it. Moving on. Do you remember the zooming out trick? Just saying. Now you can easily tell it's 006. What about this one? Did you guess it's 488? And another one. It's 226. Bingo! And now, the king of them all, a 4-digit number to rock your mind. Only 5% of people can tell it's 1240. Here's a new test for your eyes. Can you find who's hiding here? This time, you don't have to squint. It's a bird hiding in the snow. That was just a warm-up. What about this one? It's right there, a beautiful green parrot hiding in the jungle. Do you think you can play detective again and find the hidden creature in this one? It's a cute little pika. It lives in the mountains of Asia and North America. This one just looks like a sea of green to me. Maybe you can figure it out. Voila! There's a crocodile successfully blending with all the greenery. Okay, the next one is definitely some empty landscape. Or is it? It's a cheetah, and it could be gone in a second. It's the fastest land animal in the world after all. It's getting trickier and trickier. Is someone hiding here as well? Did you find this little nighthawk? This bird is known for its bat-like flying technique. Alright, who's next? It's a bunch of toads camouflaged in bright fall leaves. Time for a coffee break. Would you like a cup? You can have it as long as you don't mind the cute ladybugs hiding in between these coffee beans. Next, please. Do you see anybody here? Careful! A leopard is too close. It's the most secretive of the big cats, so you never know what's on its mind. Another tricky one for you. Perhaps squinting can help. Yay! Found it! It's a ground squirrel sitting on the rocks. Ready for the next one? I'd give it a close look. It's a whole family of monkeys keeping each other warm in the winter. Look at these beautiful butterflies. Can you name all of their colors? It's simple. They're all exactly the same shade of beige. The bright multicolored stripes make your brain believe the butterflies are all different. Here's another colorful optical illusion. Stare at the white dot in the middle of this color palette. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keep staring at the white dot. Do you see faded colors around it? And now, take your eyes off the dot. The stripes are actually white and gray. Your brain and eyes are playing a trick on you here. Here's a fun one for you. Stare at the bird while I'm counting to 1. The second I say 1, quickly move your eyes to the ceiling and blink several times. You won't believe what you see. Let's try it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now blink. Do you see the same bird, or is it of a different color? Either way, it has to be there. How many animals do you see here? And the correct answer is 1. Just kidding, that would be too easy. If you look closely, you'll see a dog, a snake, an elephant, a chameleon, an otter, and a seagull here. So there are 6 of them, not just 1. Moving on. Give this optical illusion a close look. What do you see? If it looks like a lake and a mountain landscape to you, you're a realistic person who likes setting goals and reaching them step by step. If you saw the double meaning here and knew it was the head of a dog, you're really creative and often choose your fantasy world over the real one. How about this one? If you see 2 cats in love in this one, you're a sentimental and romantic person who always sees the good in others. You make new friends easily. If you see the upside-down wild cat, you're an ambitious person and a natural leader. You have the energy and drive that makes others listen to you and trust in you. What catches your eye here? If you saw the elephants first, you must be a logical person who seeks a reasonable explanation for everything. You like to follow a plan and don't like surprises. If it's swans to you, you must be more spontaneous and adventurous. You enjoy trying new things and taking risks, big and small. This one seems pretty obvious, but it's just an illusion, remember? If you see 1 tiger head in this one, looks like you're a super friendly and easygoing person. You feel more comfortable in the company of others than alone. If you instantly saw 3 tigers here, you feel good surrounded by others, but are most productive by yourself. You never feel bored when you stay alone, as you always have various scenarios playing in your head. Stuart works as a teacher in an old British magic school, which is located in a beautiful castle. Early in the morning, he's walking down the corridor. Suddenly, Stuart hears a loud noise from the class and goes there to check. He sees 3 students raising their wands. One of them is a fake wizard. Can you guess who? This guy, he has an ordinary twig instead of a magic wand. Stuart settles down the quarrel and goes to the dining hall. He chooses one of these 4 breakfast sets. But Stuart doesn't eat any meat or fish. Also, he's allergic to all the purple fruits and berries. Can you help him choose the safest option? First of all, let's exclude the first breakfast. This cotton cheese bagel looks good, but it contains salmon. The second set has toast with blueberry jam, which may cause an allergic reaction. As for the fourth option, fried bacon is hiding under this cute waffle. So, Stuart should choose the third option. Although it contains some purple cabbage, nobody said that he's allergic to purple vegetables too. The cook offers Stuart a deal.
If you guess my riddle, you'll get a double dessert.
Stuart agrees. Here's the riddle.
What melts in a freezer?
The frost when the freezer is switched off. After breakfast, Stuart goes to the school greenhouse to say hi to Miss Palmer. She looks very confused. In the morning, 3 evil wizards opened a magical portal and snuck into the greenhouse. They took the shape of my plants, and now I don't know where they are. Can you help Stuart find them? Take a look at this cactus. It has no root. It just floats in the air without a pot. All the lilies have 6 petals, but this one only has 5. And this pumpkin has a watermelon pattern and color. Therefore, these 3 odd plants should be the wizards. Stuart walks down the Great Hall. Suddenly, an owl lands on his head and ruins his hairstyling. Stuart gets furious and asks 3 students standing nearby, "Whose owl is this?" Can you spot the owner of this bird? It's this guy. He has the same colored accessory as his owl. It's time for the flying lesson. 3 students, Wendy, Drake, and Blair, are about to have a race on their broomsticks. Can you spot who's cheating? Blair is casting a spell on her broomstick to make it go faster. Blair gets disqualified. Meanwhile, Drake and Wendy and Rob get ready to start the race. Can you guess who's gonna win? Drake has a broken broom, and Rob's position is wrong. It will take him more time to catch the broom and hit the road, so Wendy has the best chance of winning. Stuart begins Transfiguration lesson. He gives each of his students an apple and asks them to turn the fruits into stones. And then Stuart goes to the toilet. After a while, he returns and finds a huge toad sitting on his desk. Stuart questions 3 suspects. Among the students, Drake says, "I didn't do it. I was too busy with your task. Luckily, I made it." Bella says, "It was Magnus. I saw him catching a toad in the pond last night." And Magnus says, "It was Drake. He wanted to distract you because he didn't do his homework." Who's lying? Drake. Take a look at his desk. There's an apple in front of him, but he said that he succeeded in turning it into a stone. Stuart is riding a broom in the garden during his lunch break. Suddenly, someone throws a purple paint tube on his head. Stuart loses balance and falls. He finds 3 suspects and interrogates them. Billy says, "I was just sitting under this ancient oak and doing my homework." Bella says, "I was painting Billy's portrait. At some point, I noticed that my purple paint was missing. We both were here all the time." And Lily says, "I was just flying on my broom. I didn't even see any paint, sir." Who pranked Stuart? There's purple paint on Bella's hands, but it's okay because she was painting. Billy's outfit looks fine, but Lily has these odd smudges of purple paint on her hair. That's because she hid the tube under her witchy hat after the prank. Stuart is visiting the human world once a week because he loves one local bakery. But today, he finds out that he's not the only magical guy here. Can you guess why? Take a look at this pretty lady. She looks young, but her reflection in the mirror shows she's an old witchy lady. Every winter, a fancy ball takes place at the magic school. Several students perform a traditional dance as part of the opening ceremony. Suddenly, one of the dancers, Lily, loses her balance and falls in front of everyone. Stuart decides to investigate this case and finds out that someone had spilled olive oil on the dance floor on purpose. He interrogates 3 suspects. Harry says,
"Sir, I didn't do it. Lily is my girlfriend. Why would I prank her so meanly?"
Richard says, "Lily totally deserved that. She refused to go to the ball with me. I don't know who did it, but I'm grateful to this person." And Bella says,
"Before the performance, I was taking selfies with my boyfriend. Look at the pictures, if you don't believe me."
Now Stuart knows exactly who's guilty. What about you? It was Bella. Take a look at her selfies. She's wearing a witch bottle necklace and it's filled with greenish oil, but now it's empty. The magic school hired a photographer to take fancy pictures at the ball. This photo was taken at midnight, and this one half an hour later. Can you guess what happened here? This wizard didn't push her. He was actually trying to save her by raising his hands and casting a spell. And he succeeded, as we can see from the second picture. The winter ball is over. Stuart throws an after party for teachers at his apartment. Everything goes well, but the next day, Stuart finds out that someone had stolen the rarest and most expensive spell book from his secret library. Stuart has never told anyone about this room, but the lock isn't broken, which means that the thief knew a special spell to open the door. Only 4 guests possess this level of magic: Ambrose, Morgana, Rosamond, and Richard. Stuart rushes to the teacher's room. He questions all the suspects. Each teacher claims to have nothing to do with the robbery. Can you guess who's the thief? Ambrose. His coat is missing 1 gold button because he dropped it at the crime scene. Meanwhile, Ambrose looks through the spellbook and finds a potion recipe that allows teleporting anywhere. But unfortunately, the last 3 ingredients are encoded. Here's a hint to crack the first one. It's a flower that can be found between the nose and the chin. Any idea what it might be? Tulips. Here's the next hint. What kind of vegetable do people look forward to getting every month? Celery. And this clue will lead you to the final ingredient. What kind of room can you eat? Mushroom. Ambrose finishes the potion and teleports to an unknown place. In the evening, Stuart arranges an urgent Zoom call with his fellow wizards. They're all currently in the same city, but they don't have time to meet offline. Unfortunately, their video call gets interrupted by a stranger. Can you spot the imposter? All the wizards live in the same city, which means they're in the same time zone. The call takes place in the evening. It should be dark outside, but this guy is in the middle of a sunny day. Therefore, he's the imposter. Stuart goes to the magic market to buy special ingredients for a potion that will help him find the stolen book. One violet costs 10 bronze coins, and the price for one lily is 15 coins. Can you calculate the price of this one starflower? One starflower will cost 20 bronze coins. Each flower costs 2.5 coins per petal. And this particular starflower has 8 petals.
Abby was a college student. Every day before classes, she packed a sandwich for lunch. And her meal disappeared from her backpack every single time. After Abby was left hungry once again, she got very angry and decided to track down the thief. The next day, she left her bag in the classroom, hid in a locker, and started waiting. Abby noticed someone pull the sandwich out of the backpack, but she didn't see their face. She decided to ask everyone about the stolen sandwich. Liam said, "How dare you? I only eat fruit salads." Jason said, "My granny made this sandwich for me." And Chuck said that he just bought his sandwich in the school vending machine. Who's lying? Abby didn't have lettuce in her sandwich, so it must be Jason who stole it. Abby passed her first test in college and decided to throw a party. She invited all of her friends. That was also the evening when Abby found out that one of them wasn't human. Can you tell who? It's Henry. Both of his shoes are for the right foot. During spring break, Abby organized a garage sale to sell some of her old dresses. After a while, Abby got her first customer, Tina. The girl picked only one dress and asked Abby, "How much for this dress?" Abby answered, $30. Tina didn't want to spend that much, so she asked, "Could you sell it for $20? Abby agreed. Tina gave her $50, but Abby didn't have any change, so she went to her neighbor to ask for help. The neighbor gave Abby 3 notes, 2 20s and 1 $10 note. Abby came back, gave $30 to Tina, and put the remaining $20 in her wallet. A few minutes later, the neighbor ran into Abby's garage and shouted, "That note you gave me is fake! Give me my money back!" Abby had to give the man her own money. How much money did she lose? Well, firstly, Abby gave away the dress for free, and its full price was $30 before the discount. Then she had to pay $30 out of her own pocket to her neighbor. So, Abby lost a total of $60. Abby invited her best friend Nina to go skating in the park. Soon, they got really hungry and decided to buy some burgers. They chose similar toppings and added lots of sauces. 10 minutes later, Nina got very sick. Abby had to call 911. Paramedics took the girl to a hospital and diagnosed severe poisoning. Can you tell which sauce was poisoned? This one. Abby didn't use any garlic sauce. When Nina got better, Abby took her for a walk. They spotted the spookiest house in the neighborhood and decided to check it. That was a big mistake. When they got inside, the door behind them suddenly disappeared. Now they have 3 ways out. There's a zombie behind the first door. A creepy vampire is waiting behind the second door. And there's an angry ghost behind the third door. Which way is the safest? They should choose the third door. Ghosts may be spooky, but they can't cause any real harm. Okay, well, maybe you might get slimed, but... Nina and Abby found themselves in the next room. The door leading outside was open, and they ran toward it. But an old witch popped out of nowhere and yelled,
"Not so fast! You've got to solve my riddle first! Why are these words in such an order?"
Nina and Abby failed to crack this riddle. What about you? Here's the correct answer. The words rhyme with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's why they're in this order. The witch teleported Nina and Abby to her basement, but the girls didn't give up and found 3 ways out again. The room behind the first door was filled with toxic gas. It was extremely harmful to their lungs and skin. There was a 300-pound weight above the second door. It'll crush anyone or anything that steps inside. And a hungry tiger was waiting behind the third door. Abby and Nina hesitated for a while and made the right choice. Which door did they choose? Nina took off her boot and threw it on the floor in the second room. The weight crushed the boot, and the girls ran into the room and closed the door. After that, they escaped through the window. Unfortunately, they got lost in a magical forest. It was cold since it was winter. After wandering around for a while, they saw 3 roads. All of them seemed dangerous. If they picked the road leading to the left, they'd have to go past some hungry wolves. And if they went straight ahead, they'd have to go through a village where werewolves lived. And the third path went over a lake covered with thin ice that could crack at any moment. Which way should they choose? They should follow the second path. Look at the sky. It's a new moon, and werewolves are only dangerous during a full moon. Nina and Abby got home safely. But someone had burgled their apartment while they were absent. They called the police, and they questioned 3 neighbors. Jeff said, "I was away all weekend, fishing with my friends." Holly said, "I didn't leave my home. I was painting the walls in my apartment all weekend. I love bright colors, you know." And Lucy said that she'd been singing karaoke with her friends and hadn't heard anything suspicious. Who's lying? Holly. The walls in her apartment are mostly white, but she said that she painted them in some bright colors. Nina got a job in a bookstore. On her first day at work, she found a vintage watch on the floor. 3 people came over to claim it. Kevin said that he'd bought this watch when he got his first salary many years ago. Violet said that she'd inherited the watch from her grandfather. And Dylan said, "This watch is priceless. My wife gave it to me for our 5th anniversary." Can you tell who owns this watch? It's Violet. She has the narrowest wrist. That's why the girl made an extra hole. Otherwise, the watch would slip off her hand. Abby went on a date with Jerry. He invited her over. But as soon as Abby got inside his apartment, Jerry turned into an evil wizard. He decided to make fun of her and said, "I'll give you a chance to get free. Just make me breakfast tomorrow. If it's good enough, I'll let you go. And if it's bad, you'll stay here forever." The next morning, Abby came to the kitchen and began cooking. When she turned away from the stove, Jerry added a whole box of salt to the pot. But when Abby served breakfast, Jerry understood that he'd have to let Abby go. What did she cook? She cooked boiled eggs. Abby got a new job. She had to assist a railroad supervisor. One day, they faced a huge problem. A faster train was approaching a slower one. According to the schedule, the slower train had to let the faster train go first. Abby offered to use an auxiliary railway line, but it was too short for the slower train. Abby didn't know what to do, but finally, she found the solution. What did she realize? The faster train should use the auxiliary railway line. Now the slower train can move back. When the main railway line is free, the faster train can go first. Abby got a note which said that a vampire family had moved into one of the houses in the neighborhood. Abby wanted to find evidence that vampires didn't exist. She found the street she needed. There were 3 houses there. Which house looked suspicious? Look at the footprints. They're pretty weird. They lead to and from houses A and C. It means people must come and leave these houses. As for House B, the footprints only lead inside. So this must be the vampire's house. Abby told Nina about her adventures, but her friend didn't believe her. So the next night, Nina decided to go into the house on her own. Once she walked through the door, it got locked behind her back. Nina wandered around and found 3 doors. They looked the same, but the symbols on them were different. Suddenly, a creepy voice announced,
"The only way to escape safely is to exit through the 5th door."
"The only way to escape safely is to exit through the 5th door." But there were only 3 doors. Which door should Nina choose? Take a look at the symbols. They're actually numbers turned toward each other. So Nina should choose the first door. This symbol is made up of 2 5s looking at each other. This must be the 5th door the girl needs. A theft happened in Abby and Nina's college. The police caught 3 suspects. The detective's task was to identify which suspect was a robot. There were several items on the table in front of him: a kitchen knife, a bottle of water, a screwdriver, and a marker. Abby said that she knew how to recognize the robot. What should they do? The detective should ask each of them to drink water from the bottle. The robot will either refuse or experience a short circuit. One day, Abby decided to go visit her granny. The woman lived alone in the countryside. There were only a few stores near her house. There was nowhere to go and no one to talk to. Abby was sick and tired of her city life and wanted to breathe some fresh air for a few weeks. Her boyfriend, Chuck, didn't mind. The next day after Abby left, he sent her a message to find out how she was doing. Abby told him that everything was fine and even sent him a selfie. Chuck looked at the picture and understood that Abby was lying. How did he know? Take a look at the car. There's a movies sign reflected in the windshield.
Mary runs a beauty salon.
Hello.
She arrives at work in the morning and sees one odd thing. Can you spot what's wrong with this place? The mirror images of these 2 clients are swapped. Mary says hi to all employees, but there's one imposter among them. Can you tell who? This guy over here. Cutting hair doesn't require kitchen ladles. One of the clients is unhappy about her haircut. She approaches Mary and demands her money back. Mary asks 2 of her best hairdressers, "Ladies, who did this haircut?" Nina says, "It was Sarah." And Sarah blames Nina. Can you guess who actually did the haircut? It was Sarah. The client's little purple hairs are still on her black dress. Mary is taller than Sarah, and Nina is shorter than Mary. We know that only one of the following statements is correct. 1. Sarah is taller than Nina. 2. Nina is taller than Sarah. 3. It cannot be determined if Nina or Sarah is the tallest. Can you guess which one? Statement 3 is correct. The only thing that we know for sure is that Mary is the tallest. If Nina and Sarah have different heights, one of the other statements is also correct. But if Nina and Sarah have the same height, none of the other 2 statements are correct. Mary walks around the beauty salon to check if everything's fine. Can you find any odd details in this picture? There's a snake hiding in this woman's dreadlocks. After work, Mary is visiting her boyfriend, Steve, at the police station.
Hello.
Steve is a detective. He just finished interrogating these 3 criminals. One of these guys is planning to escape tonight. Can you guess who? There's a nail file in this guy's cake, so he's the one who's planning to escape. Mary and Steve are having a romantic walk in the park late at night. Can you see anything weird here? There are 2 moons in the sky.
Oh my god!
Suddenly, a thief pops out of nowhere, grabs Mary's bag, and runs away.
Oh, no.
Steve follows him, but the thief runs into a nightclub and blends in with the crowd. The thief was wearing a mask, so Steve couldn't see his face. Can you help him catch the criminal? The thief was wearing a gold watch on his right hand, just like this guy. The next day, Mary is holding a workshop for hairdressers. There are 10 students in one classroom. Each person can see the entire room and everyone else. Mary wants to place a wig so that all but one person can see it. Where would you place the wig in the room? She should put the wig on anyone's head. Mary looks out the window and sees a football team in front of the beauty salon. Each guy is holding a sign with some inscription. Can you guess who the message is for? One of the football players is asking Emily out on a date. At the end of her working shift, Mary goes to the basement to check the drinking water supply. Suddenly, the door slams, and she has to find an alternative way out. Mary walks through a creepy basement and finds 3 doors. A tunnel behind the first door is on fire. Behind the second door, there are UV lamps. And behind the third door, there are angry tigers waiting to jump on Mary. Which door should she choose? The first one. She can use a couple of the drinking water bottles and put out the fire. There are 3 ladies waiting in line for a manicure, but one of them cannot get her nails done. Can you tell who? This lady. Take a look at the reflection. It's just a cardboard cutout. The working day is over at 8 p.m. All the employees go home and Mary remains alone. She puts all the cash in the safe locker and goes home too. In the morning, she returns and finds out that all the cash is gone. She calls the police, and they question 3 suspects. Nina, the hairdresser, says, "I finished with my last client at 6 p.m. and left right away." Emma, the cleaning lady, says, "I cleaned all of the studio after Mary left. Then I locked the door and went home. I didn't notice anything suspicious." Sarah says, "I was waiting for my last client until 7:30, but he didn't show up. So I rescheduled the appointment for today and went home." Who's lying? Emma. Mary was the last person to leave the workplace yesterday. Mary goes on a date to a restaurant. Her boyfriend brings her flowers and chocolates. In the morning, she wakes up with a severe allergy. She goes to the hospital. Doctors find out that she was poisoned, but they don't know what kind of antidote she needs. Mary needs to identify the source quickly, so she hires a detective. He questions everyone who could give the allergen to Mary. Steve, the boyfriend, says, "We had the same food and drinks in the evening. I don't understand how it could happen." Pizza guy says, "I brought her pizza yesterday, but it was all right for sure. No one else complained about anything." And Bella, Mary's bestie, says, "I think it's her boyfriend's fault. He called me and asked what kind of flowers Mary liked. Who caused Mary's allergy?" Bella. She advised Steve to give Mary allergenic flowers. Mary gets well and goes back to work. She arrives at her beauty salon and sees these 3 clients. Only one of them is a natural blonde. Can you guess who? The first lady has black armpit hair. and the third lady has dark roots and eyebrows. Therefore, they are not natural blondes. And this elegant lady with green hair has light eyebrows and eyelashes, which means she's the only natural blonde among these three people. Suddenly, all the lights in the beauty salon turn off. Thankfully, in a few seconds, the light is back again. But Emily yells, "Someone stole my chocolate bar!" Mary interrogates three suspects. Emily's client says, "That wasn't me, I just got nail polish applied. And I'm still waiting for it to dry." Nina says, "I'm afraid of the dark, so when the lights went out, I just froze." And Angela says, "Someone pushed me in the dark and I fell on the floor." Who took the chocolate bar? Angela. She has crumbs on her cheek. Steve wants to give Mary a legendary gift for her birthday, but he has absolutely no idea what to get her. He decides to sneak into her laptop and check out her shopping cart. Mary goes to the bathroom and Steve sneaks into her room and turns on the laptop. It requires a password, but Steve doesn't know it. Luckily, there's a note next to Mary's laptop saying 6226. Sam tries it, but it doesn't work. Can you crack the password? Steve should try 222-222-66. Mary puts her stuff in the storage room and leaves for a while. When she returns, she notices that someone has stolen her bag. The manager calls the police and locks the doors. A policeman comes over and identifies three suspects. The hairdresser had a live stream with her Instagram followers. The manicurist says that she was focused on her work. And the cleaner says that he was washing the floor and he didn't notice anyone suspicious. Have you guessed who the thief is? The hairdresser. Take a look at her earrings. She left one of them at the crime scene. Mary gives her student Nancy a tricky task. She gives her 3 boxes. Each of the boxes contains hair extensions of a certain color, and 2 statements. In one of the boxes, 2 statements are false. In the other boxes, both statements are true. Let's open up the first box. The 2 notes say, 1. Don't use this color. 2. Don't take the color from the second box. The 2 notes from the second box say, 1. Don't use the color from the first box. 2. And take the color from the third box. And finally, the notes in the third box say, 1. Don't use this color. 2. Take the color from the first box. Which color should Nancy choose to pass the test? Nancy should choose the color from the third box.
Mark and Jane got married and flew off to a paradise island to spend their honeymoon there. But something went wrong. After the couple checked into their hotel, Jane suddenly disappeared. The hotel owner announced that Mark would have to play a game to get his wife back. If he won, they'd get a big cash prize that would cover the cost of their honeymoon. Mark had to agree. The host gave him a special jacket and said, "Tomorrow at sunrise, you'll only have time till sunset to finish all the tasks and save your wife." Mark will need your help to solve all the riddles and get his wife back, so stick around to help him. The next day at sunrise, Mark finds himself near the entrance of a huge labyrinth. Its walls are way taller than the guy, and there's no way to know where to go. Mark is worried that once he walks in, he won't be able to find his way out. How can he escape the labyrinth without getting lost and wasting too much time? There's one strategy to escape any labyrinth. Mark should put his right hand on the right wall and go forward, touching it at all times. He'll be walking into dead ends along the way, but if he follows the right wall, he'll get out of them and will eventually find his way out of the labyrinth. So, Mark walks in. Several minutes later, Mark takes another turn and sees a guard standing in his way. "Sorry, but you have to solve my riddle if you want to come through. What is that thing you have to break before you can use it? Do you have something in mind?" That's an egg. The guard says nothing, just moves to the side, letting Mark pass. Again, his right hand on the right wall. He's moving further. 20 minutes later, the guy sees a locked door on his way. There are 5 buttons on the door, but only one of them will let Mark pass. If he chooses the wrong one, the door will get blocked until sunset, and he won't be able to save his wife. So, choose carefully. Which button will let him in? There's something special about almost all these buttons. The first one, unlike others, doesn't have an outline. The second one is of a different shape. The third button is of a different color. And the last one is smaller than all the others. Only the fourth button doesn't have any distinctions. That's what makes it one of a kind. I bet Mark should press that one. And it's the right button. The door clicks open and Mark steps through. His right hand is on the wall and off he goes. Apparently, it's time for breakfast. Mark comes up to the table. There are 3 apples, but only one of them is safe to eat. The other 2 are poisonous. Unfortunately, Mark can't skip breakfast. Which apple should he eat? Look, this apple has a caterpillar in it. It means there's no poison in the fruit, and it's safe to eat. 20 minutes later, there are 2 more doors on Mark's way. He has to pick one of them. The first door is the way out, and the second one will take him back to the labyrinth. Which door should he choose? Look, there's some light coming from under the door. It must be the way out. Mark puts his hand on the doorknob, and it's the right choice. He's out, and a thick forest surrounds him. The view is beautiful, but he should get moving. He's running out of time. Where should he go next? He sees 3 signs, but the letters are mixed up. Can you figure out which way Mark should choose? These signs are hints. If you put the letters on them in the correct order, the first sign will turn into right way, the second one into wrong way, and the last one will be wronger way, which is grammatically incorrect. Anyways, I guess Mark should opt for the left direction. Sometime later, Mark stumbles across a big old castle. He should enter it and see what's happening there. He comes up to the door, but it's locked. It requires a password. Here's a sequence of numbers. 4 more digits must be added to it. Can you guess which ones? One plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 4 plus 7 is 11. Then 7 plus 11 is 18. So the next digits are 2 and 9. 29. Because that's 11 plus 18. And 18 plus 29 gives us 47, which is 4 and 7. The password is 2947. And this is the right answer. The door clicks open, and Mark walks into a dark and dusty corridor. But once he takes a step, he moves a string on the floor, and a metal cage falls down, trapping him inside. Luckily, there's a way to deal with it. On the wall, the guy sees 3 buttons and an instruction. If Mark presses the blue button, the cage will be filled with water and will only open in 10 minutes. Just an FYI, the average person can survive without air for 3 to 4 minutes at most. The green button will open all the cages at the same time. But look around, there's one more cage in the room, and inside that cage, a hungry wolf is pacing. The orange button will make the floor of the cage disappear, and Mark will fall into a hole filled with hungry alligators. What is the guy's best choice? Seriously, there's no need to try anything risky. If Mark hits the blue button, the water will just go through the bars of the cage, and in 10 minutes, Mark will be free to go. Soon, the cage opens. Mark sees a long corridor with many turns. Mark's task is to figure out which turn is the one he needs. But it's not that hard. The guy is actually inside an art gallery with paintings on the wall. After every turn, he can see 2 pictures. Mark should just follow the original paintings. He will need your help to tell them apart. Okay, here's the first one. Which one is the original? Both paintings seem to be The Starry Night by Van Gogh. But look, in one of these pictures, there's a couple of planes in the sky. Van Gogh definitely didn't paint that, so this one must be the replica. So Mark should better choose the other turn. Another turn, another choice. This time, it's Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer. Which one is the original? I don't think the girl in the real masterpiece had a nose piercing, so the painting on the right is fake, and Mark should turn left. But surely you know this one, Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. But one of the paintings is really messed up. Can you spot the difference? Look, in the right picture, you can see some cars on the road behind the woman's back. I think Mark should turn left. This is The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. Which painting is a replica? It's the one on the left. I don't think a melted modern smartphone belongs there. Turn right. And one more choice to make. It's American Gothic by Grant Wood. Look closely and help Mark choose. The man in the right picture has tattoos on his knuckles, which makes the painting fake, so Mark should turn left. He finds himself in a dark hallway, lit by several torches. There are 3 doors. Each of them can lead Mark to the place he needs, but behind each door, there's something dangerous. The instruction on the wall says that behind the first one, there's an iron block equipped with a movement sensor. It crushes everyone who enters. Behind the second door, there's an electric shocker that never misses. Behind the third door, there's shattered glass all over the floor. Which way should Mark choose? He should pick the third door. He's wearing a pair of shoes, right? So the glass isn't gonna be a big problem. Finally, Mark sees his wife. She's trapped in an aquarium, and soon she's going to run out of oxygen. But the main problem? There are 2 aquariums and 2 women. Both unconscious and absolutely the same. Mark has to figure out who the real Jane is, and he only has one attempt. Which woman is his wife? Look, one of the women has an M tattooed on her wrist. M stands for Mark. It must be the guy's wife. He rushed towards her and takes her out of the water. Half a minute later, she comes back to her senses. They have to get out now. Once again, there are 3 ways out. Behind the first door, there is a hungry wolf. Behind the second door, the floor is burning. This time, wearing shoes can't help much. Behind the third door, the room is filled with toxic gas. How can the couple get out? The floor is burning, so they have an aquarium full of water. The fire isn't that huge, so this amount of water should be enough to stop it. It's the right choice. Mark and Jane walk out the second door and run towards the exit they see in front of them. On the way out, there's a guard. Congratulations, you've completed the quest. But I will only let you out if you solve my last riddle. There's something that Saturn, Uranus, Venus, and Mars have that Earth doesn't. What is that? It's the letter S. As simple as that. Imagine you got into a portal leading to the multiverse. It's like a trip from one world to another. You'll have to solve completely different, random, strange, and psychedelic riddles. Listen carefully, and you'll solve them all. One prisoner has been in a dungeon for many years. His room is small, dirty, and cold. There's a table with delicious food on it in the next room, behind the iron door. Somebody brings new food every week. The door leading to this room is about several inches thick. During all these years, the prisoner somehow manages to get into that room and enjoy delicious food. How does he do it? No one mentioned the door to that room was locked. A lonely wanderer passes through the sands of the Sahara. He notices the outlines of an ancient temple in the distance. Food and water are inside this building. He's approaching the building, but a huge sphinx appears in front of the entrance. It tells the wanderer that the way inside the temple is only allowed to those who can solve the riddle. Tell me, wanderer, you have 3 body parts that begin and end with the same letter. Name them, and I'll let you through, the sphinx says. The eye, says the wanderer. Without thinking twice, he names the second body part. It's the throat. Time passes. He still can't name the third body part. The sphinx demands an immediate response. What should the wanderer answer? It's the second eye. An old sailor picked up a treasure chest from the seabed. As soon as he takes 1 gold coin from there, a pirate appears in front of him.
How dare you touch my treasures?
The pirate says.
You're doomed to spend half your life at sea and the other half on land.
The sailor is old and he doesn't know how much time he has left to live. How can he spend half of his remaining life in the water? He can do it if he spends 1 day at sea and the other day on land. You're out of luck. You find yourself on a small island during the battle of 2 phoenixes. There's fire everywhere. You run away towards the shore to the opposite part of the island. It's covered with dry grass. The wind drives the flame in your direction. You can't hide in the water because the kraken is over there. How will you escape from the fire? You need to move away from the shore in the direction of the approaching flame and set the grass on fire. The wind will spread the fire you started towards the sea. The main fire has not reached you yet. You're standing on the site between 2 fires going in one direction. As soon as the small fire reaches the sea and goes out, you come to the shore and wait for the main fire. It won't reach you because there's nothing left to burn. You've spent several days in the jungle in search of an ancient artifact. You have a spear, a bottle of water, and a flashlight. You climb a hill and look at the rainforest. You hear the sound of crunching branches from below. You notice a lion. What will you do? Use a spear? Scream to scare away the animal? Or should you give it some water? Make up your mind. Time's running out. You've noticed the lion, but who said the lion had noticed you? Just wait for it to leave. An old man is sitting in the hall among young students. He can hardly see the teacher who entered the hall. The teacher carefully looks at all the students and informs them that there's just 1 question they have to answer to pass the exam. He takes a shiny billiard ball out of his briefcase and puts it on the table. Prove that this ball doesn't exist, the teacher says. The exam ends in a few hours. All students write their answers on a piece of paper, and almost all of them get a bad grade. In the end, the old man with poor eyesight approaches the teacher. He gives him a paper with only 2 words on it. The teacher gives the old man the highest score. What was written on his sheet of paper? Which ball? The old man wrote. Now you're in a dark dungeon. You're looking for a werewolf to defeat it. At this point, your torch goes out. You hear a growl behind you. It's scared. "I'm sorry, Mr. Werewolf," you say, and rush to the exit as fast as you can. You run out of the dungeon and find yourself in a field. 3 paths are in front of you. A pit with snakes, a road with scorpions, and a poisonous lake. What will you choose? Can you see a hat on the water in the right part of the lake? This means that the lake is frozen. Just run on it. As soon as you cross the lake, you see a little puppy coming out of the dungeon. It barks at you and runs back into the dungeon. You're in an old tavern. Robbers, wizards, and pirates are all around you. The young magician puts a small box on the table and says, "There are 3 cents in here, but only 2 coins. One of them is not 1 cent. How can this be possible?" What coins are inside the box? One coin is 2 cents, and the other one is a 1-cent coin. The magician said that only one of the 2 cents is not a 1-cent coin. You're walking through a dark forest and notice a door. It's just standing there by itself. You open it, take a step, and you find yourself in a wonderful pink world. There are pink rivers and pink trees there. You see a 1-story pink house and go inside. All the furniture is pink. A meowing pink cat is walking around. You walk down the corridor to the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. What color is this staircase? There are no stairs in the house. It's a 1-story building, remember? You and hundreds of other farmers roam the desert. You've lost your crops because of drought. There is almost no water. You go towards the sea to start a new life, but at this moment, clouds are accumulating over the whole plain. Lightning flashes in the black sky. A heavy downpour falls on the ground. All the people are screaming with joy and dancing in the rain. After a few seconds, you get soaked to the skin and freeze. You look around at the crowd of soaked people and notice one man among them. Despite the downpour, not a single hair on his head got wet. How is this possible? The man is bald. You wake up inside an airplane because of a loud engine. You don't remember how you got here and don't know what's going on. You get up from your chair and find no other people on the plane. You walk forward, look into the cockpit, and oh no, the pilots are not there. You look around in search of a parachute, but don't find anything. You look out the window and decide to take a desperate step. You open the emergency exit and jump out of the plane. You land on the asphalt unharmed. How is this possible? The plane wasn't flying anywhere. It was standing still on the ground. You're driving a car nervously looking in the rearview mirror. No one seems to be following you. The stars and the moon are not visible because of the clouds. The road seems empty. You're driving with your headlights off. No one should notice you. At this moment, an old woman dressed in a black suit crosses the road. The moon is not shining. The headlights are off. She is dressed in black. Despite all these factors, you slow down, stop the car, and let the old lady cross the road. How did you notice her? No one said it happened at night. You were driving in the afternoon. You're climbing to the top of the highest mountain on the planet Flycilium. You're the first person in history who manages to do this. Once you reach the top, you will receive a cash prize from the Galactic Tourism Federation. The whole planet is covered with snow and ice. It's very cold, dry, and lifeless here. The only place with green grass and warm air is the peak where you're heading now. Exhausted, you finally reach your goal and fall to the ground. However, the Galactic Tourism Federation refuses to pay you. Why is that? Did you notice shoe marks on the grass? It means that someone was here before you. A girl walks into an old antique store. Her mouth is covered with duct tape, but she's okay with it. She approaches the seller and tries to tell them what she needs using gestures. She sticks her finger in her left ear and puts her fist to the right ear. Then she starts rotating her fist. The seller understands the girl wants to buy a pencil sharpener. She pays and leaves. Then a man with a blindfold enters the store. He wants to buy scissors. How should he explain this to the seller? He can just say it. He has a blindfold over his eyes, not over his mouth. And we're done with riddles. Now it's time to go back to your universe. While you're flying there through space and time, let's count the number of your correct answers. 0 to 3 points. Don't get upset, at least you tried. You'll do better next time. 4 to 8 points. Not so bad, but not great either. These were not the easiest riddles. 9 to 11 points. It's good, but you could have done better. If you pay more attention to what the riddles say, you'll understand what the catch is. 12 to 14 points. It's difficult to take you by surprise. You can find the right solution in any strange situation. 15 points. You're an absolute winner. If you have managed to solve all 15 riddles, you're a real champion of attentiveness and resourcefulness. Okay, this is a joke. There were only 14 riddles in this video. It's Emma's first day at her new job. She moved to San Francisco to start at this new tech company, and everything is new to her. As soon as she arrived, an intern led her to the boss's office for a briefing.
Hello.
Take a look at the picture. Can you tell who Emma's boss is? I know he looks pretty young, but it's the guy on the left. His blazer is on the boss's chair. After her briefing, Emma was sent down to the IT lab to set up her corporate account. A guy named Lanny was going to help her with everything, but he said Emma needed to answer a few of his riddles correctly first. Since she had no option, she went all in. For his first riddle, Lanny asked her why the IT department recently hired a spider. Can you help Emma out? Because it was a great web designer. Duh! For his next riddle, he asked Emma why an invisible man turned down a job offer at their company. What would you say is the answer here? Because he simply couldn't see himself doing it. On Emma's second day of work, her boss texted her saying to look for a woman named Helen. Since he was super busy, Helen was supposed to give Emma the details of her next assignment. The thing is, Emma had no idea who Helen was. Take a look at the office. Can you help Emma find Helen? Look at that woman right there. She's got a necklace with the initial H on it. And plus, her badge says Helen. It's safe to say that's her right there. Emma's been working a lot trying to catch up with everything, so she's almost forgotten to grab lunch. By the time she went down to the cafeteria, there weren't many options left. Take a look at the picture. What's Emma's safest choice? Let's see. That burger looks nice, but there's a lipstick stain on the bun, so that's a no. The apple pie is steaming, but it looks like it's been microwaved dozens of times, and it's about to go bad.
Oh.
Her safest choice is probably the frozen pizza.
Okay.
They defrost it on the spot. Hey, at least like this, she won't get food poisoning.
Oh.
At the end of the first week, Emma was helping her boss with an important project. It was late at night, and all of a sudden, the lights went out.
Oh my god.
The power was cut from the entire building for a few minutes, until it came back on. The boss immediately thought about the classified documents he kept in an electric safe, down in the basement.
Oh no!
Emma tagged along with him to check out the safe, but when they got there, they saw the safe was empty.
Oh my god.
Someone had caused a power shortage and stolen the documents. As soon as the police arrived, they started to conduct an investigation. Lanny, the IT guy, said he got stuck inside his office when the power went out because he couldn't open the electric door. Helen, the floor supervisor, said she had taken the opportunity to take a nap since she couldn't go home. Brian, one of the new consultants, said he had gone to the kitchen to make some tea and wait until the power came back on. Can you tell who's lying? Brian is the liar. He couldn't make tea without any electricity, since there was no stove in the kitchen and the kettle wouldn't work. On a rainy morning, Emma pressed the snooze button on her phone too many times and left the house pretty late for work. She needed to find a quicker path to work. She put her office's address on Google Maps and it showed her 3 options. Each path had a different obstacle that would take her some time to get across. For example, while going around a tree takes 3 seconds, going around a bush takes 2 seconds. And if she crosses a stop sign, she has to stop for 1 second. Take a look at the image. Can you help Emma choose the fastest track? The fastest track is the one on the right. That's the track with the least obstacles. It's lunchtime and Emma goes to the fridge to grab the sandwich she brought from home. But when she opens the fridge, she notices that her food is missing. Someone probably ate her burrito. She decides to conduct a quick investigation to see who stole her lunch. Her boss ordered some expensive takeout from a new restaurant in town. Joe, her colleague, is highly allergic to gluten, so he ate something he brought from home as well. Helen, the supervisor, ate a delicious salad bowl from the cafeteria. Take a look at the picture. Can you guess who stole Emma's lunch? It was Joe. His hands are all swollen. He probably ate the burrito even though he's allergic to gluten. Yikes! Since she moved to San Francisco, Emma has been living with 2 other girls in a tiny apartment. She's got the feeling that one of the girls doesn't really like her. One day when she got home from work, there were 3 apples on her desk and a small note. The note said the apples were a housewarming gift, but it didn't say from whom. Take a look at the picture. Are any of these apples safe to eat? The one that has the little worm in it is the safest one. Who knows? Maybe the other ones are poisoned, or worse. Emma's boss asked her to pick up his car from the car shop and drive it to their office. She wanted to impress him, so she said yes. She picked up the car and drove it through the steep hills of San Francisco before arriving at the office building. Once she got there, she saw the reception was on fire. Right next to the double glass doors, there was a fire hydrant she could use to fight the fire. Which door should Emma open first? The car door. Duh! Today, Emma's task at work was to help Helen, her supervisor, hire a new social media manager. Together, they analyzed 3 different resumes. The first one was from a woman named Angela. She is 23 years old and doesn't have a lot of company experience, but she's eager to learn. Thomas is 28 years old and has 7 years of work experience. He says he's been working for Google since the company was founded. And then there's Bianca, who's 20 years old and has been making viral TikTok stories for over 2 years. Who should they hire? They should probably hire Angela. Thomas lied in his resume because Google was founded in 1998, and Bianca can't be an expert at making TikTok stories since TikTok doesn't have this option to begin with. Helen asked Emma to run an important errand for her. Her only request was for Emma to be fast. The thing is, Emma needed to cross town to get to the place Helen asked her to go. So, she decided to cross the big park that connected the town. Somewhere along the way, Emma got lost and found herself at the intersection of 3 pathways. At the entrance of the first pathway, there was a huge pond. At the entrance of the second path, there was a pile of really toxic waste. And blocking the entrance of the last pond, there was a hungry-looking bear. Which path should Emma choose? She should go for the first one. Sure, she'll be a bit wet, but at least she won't be eaten by a bear. At the entrance of Emma's new apartment, someone installed a coded machine to open the door, but didn't give any hints. The buttons are shaped like animals. There's a butterfly, a tiger, a bear, and a dolphin. Do you have any idea which button Emma should press? She should press the bear. Look inside the building through the glass doors. The emblem of the building